Let's see. I apparently am not muted. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Susan.
All right, great. I was going to put on my, let's see, I'm going to try my share screen. I'm going to pause the recording.
Okay, we are recording. Today is Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021. And here we are. Welcome. We are coast to coast tonight. We have Rebecca Sachs from California joining us. We also have the Hymo family, Finnish Fitchburg natives joining us as well. And then where is our person? Oh, Elizabeth from Peabody. So welcome everyone. Susan, would you like to give your report as the director for tonight?
Oh, I was going to do it at the end with the big,
big shebang.
Yeah, the visuals and all that.
Okay. All right. Well, then with that, we will have remarks by our mayor, Mr. Stephen DiNatale.
I'm still trying to figure out the mute button. Sorry, folks. Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you all for inviting me tonight to. I would think I would be speaking on our new old city hall, and something that you might find interesting if we do a little historic comparison. This was given to the city back in 2012. Can you guys see that? It says, it is acknowledged that Fitchburg City Hall is recognized as one of Massachusetts' most endangered historic resources. And it was presented on November 8th, 2012. James Ivor was the president then. And he was involved with the recent developments that he and I spoke when I first became mayor, and I told him my intention to restore City Hall. And from that point forward, he and his organization were just terrific in supporting us, and no small part contributed to Preservation Massachusetts Award, the Paul and Nikki Songus Award, which we received. So we're very, very happy about that, and I'm happier about the fact that we have restored and retained one of the more iconic buildings in the city of Fitchburg. Mm-hmm. And we just couldn't be happier about that. And I'm hoping everyone has had, if you haven't, I'm hoping you get an opportunity to come in and walk around your city hall for all. That's what we call it, because it is your building. We had a groundbreaking ceremony on Thursday, June 13th, 2019 at 4 p.m. I've got the documentation here. And we had the official ribbon cutting on Wednesday, July 28th of this year. But we moved into the building in 2020, in December of 2020. So we were basically on schedule. And we just recently had the building committee offer their findings that the project was not only on time, but some could argue, that it was under budget. They did return nearly $500,000 that went back into the general fund. So we came in actually under budget, but because of COVID, I suppose you could make an argument that we were on budget. Either way, for a public project of this size, $23.5 million, and it's a public project under the bidding regulations that exist in the state, it's quite an accomplishment for the people involved that this project came in on budget and on time. So it was about a year, and we're just thrilled with the fact that we're moving forward, and we have an appropriate building for the people of Fitchburg. Prior to this, we were what I, humorously refer to as the factory. because that's what it was. It was the GE factory. That was our city hall. 8,000 square feet. Now we're in 35,000 square feet. And all departments are in this building with the exception of the DPW. But that was the intent. The intent was to put government, city government under one roof and make it as user-friendly as possible. And that's what we have here. We've got an 1854 outside skin of the building and a 2021 inside of the building. So it works for everyone. And we're very, very happy about that. I don't know what else I can say. I mean, whenever you can point to having state recognition, like Preservation Massachusetts, and Jim Igo and I have gone, we go way back. I met Jim when I was in the legislature, and that's when the conversation began about City Hall. And he was here to deliver the award. I think it's about 3 months ago now. It was great seeing Jim, and he was very, very happy about how this all turned out. And again, my compliments, and what couldn't have happened without the building committee and Mary Whitney. Mary Whitney was part of it, but Mary Delaney, excuse me, and AJ Tarigny, my former chief of staff, had a great deal to do with being the project manager, along with Bond, Icon, and the organizations involved with putting this together. So we're thrilled about it. And as I said, the ribbon cutting was Wednesday, July 28th, this past July, and everything went well. We had a great event. Nikki Songus herself was here to say a few words, and we were happy about that. But anytime you can preserve history, and I know the society's goal and their directive is to do just that, and to respect, the city of Fitchburg has so many buildings that are architectural masterpieces. We're very, very fortunate to have a city that has that kind of pedigree, and we couldn't be happy about that as well. I don't know, Amy, do I open this up to questions, or how do we want to proceed?
Well, I would like to just jump in and say that I appreciate the commitment, not only under your tenure, but from all of your staff and all of the contacts that you have, in the importance of how important that was that we keep that building on Main Street and that we restore it to the best of our ability to the old glory that it was. I mean, that was hugely important. And I couldn't imagine it, that there was an opportunity where people thought by taking a wrecking ball to it, that would be a better choice. So I'm completely pleased and, honored to be, a part of this community, on council, and be able to partake and enjoy what that building has to offer, but then see the process on what that means as we are looking forward in our historic building on doing preservation and updating and, making our building usable on all 5 floors. So I commend the effort, and I always want to thank you for recognizing the importance of history as we move forward in this community.
Thank you, Amy. I'd be remiss that you kind of cued me in. No small thanks go to the city council as well. They had to agree with most of the significant steps that had to be taken to get to the point we are today. And they rose to the occasion, and the city council almost unanimously all agreed with what we did. And again, very appreciative of that as well. And everyone recognizes that what I usually say is we're all rowing in the same direction. And I think that's important. So.
Yes.
Can I mention one thing? When I was at the ribbon cutting, I was struck by it. I'm the person from Preservation Massachusetts was there and said that it's very rare for an item that makes it onto that endangered, most endangered.
To come back from it. Yeah.
To come back from it, and how
Yeah.
and you could see how excited they were that the city had gotten behind that. And it was so making it even that much more of an accomplishment, something that most other places haven't been able to do.
Yeah, Susan, you're absolutely right. I forgot that statement was made. And yeah, I mean, when you make it on that, the dubious distinction of being on that list, most generally don't come back from that list. So that's another, another tip of the hat to the people that were involved in making this happen. So very important to the people of Fitchburg, important to the state and in New England in general. Just a great, and Amy, you mentioned I had a couple of people, and one of them was a city councilor who, just kind of fluffed it off and said, demo it, and I said, I'm not going to be the mayor that's going to do that. So you may have to look somewhere else. But yeah, there were some people that just thought it's not salvageable, just get rid of it. And I don't know, plant grass in the empty lot, I guess. I don't know. But
No, I'm glad that we don't ever have to have that conversation again.
right.
That will be a building that will be standing for another 150, 250 years. So
Exactly. Yeah.
will live all of us together. So,
Yeah.
And we as a society always appreciate the support that we get from City Hall and all the departments as again, we continue to just move this community forward. So thank you for taking the time to be here. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they'd like to make or receive from Mayor DiNatale?
I'll just congratulate the mayor as well and say that if we do, as a city, if we had continued to destroy our past, it's hard to know who we are if you don't have a past. So I think the preservation of City Hall was crucial to show who we are.
And Doctor, thank you. And I often say, how can I ask people to commit to Main Street when I wouldn't even commit City Hall? So that's a message that that's going to resonate, and that's why we're seeing continued growth in Main Street. We still have opportunities and challenges ahead, but this is an appropriate and necessary anchor on Main Street, and that's what this is. So thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, folks, I'm off to the Airport Commission. Yeah, I know everyone's saying, wow, that sounds interesting.
Right, even more.
It isn't midnight yet, so you can keep working.
That's right. All right. Thanks, folks. Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is the nomination committee report, and we'll hear that from Vice President Dr. Bognazarian.
Yes, well, I think that we have two very capable nominees to join the board for the next 3 years, and I can give their names and a brief history of each of them if you would like.
Yes, thank you.
The first is Aminadab Charlie Cruz Jr., who is the collections manager at the Fitchburg Art Museum. He has past experience at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston as a collection maintenance technician, and he interned with the collections team at Historic New England. He was born and raised in Fitchburg, attended Fitchburg Public Schools and Monty Tech. He obtained a BA in Spanish and art history from the University of Massachusetts Amherst and a graduate certificate in museum studies from Tufts University. I think he'll make a very capable addition to our board. The other nominee for a 3-year term is well known to us. It's Kathleen Flynn, who was born and raised in Fitchburg. She graduated from St. Bernard's High School. She earned her undergraduate degree in special education from Fitchburg State and her master's degree in education from Cambridge College and a certification as a literacy coordinator from Lesley University. Kathy taught first grade at Rheingold School for 28 years and she served as literacy coordinator at Crocker School for 5 years. In 1996, she was honored with the Dr. Warren Litsky Award by the Fitchburg Public Schools for being a master teacher. After her retirement, she served on the Alpha ALFA Curriculum Committee for 10 years at Fitchburg State University and taught in their continuing ed program. In 2020, she was honored as a Commonwealth Heroine by the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women for her work as an educator, curriculum coordinator, and for her work at the Fitchburg Historical Society. We all know her well. She has served on the board, on the collection committee, the publications committee, on the house tour committee, as well as curating major history exhibits at the society. Again, I think a wonderful nominee for addition to our board. Those are the two nominees for this year.
Thank you for that. Very well said. And, looking forward to having Kathy Flynn back on the board, and then certainly welcoming with gracious, big, open arms, Charlie Cruz. So thank you for hearing our plea and wanting to help us continue to be the best historical society that we can be. We've got, projects ahead of us and a few challenges, but we, like always, we rise to the occasion. So we appreciate that. Charlie, is there anything that you would like to add or chime in about?
Not right now. No, nothing.
We will certainly get you up and running. Plan on, having your feet hit the ground running with, through our collections. Again, look forward to your expertise in helping us guide and maneuver on our best way to not only preserve, restore, and then showcase and welcome the public in to see the treasures that we have to offer to this community and beyond. So thank you and welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm glad to help out as any way I can.
Thank you. We will then now take a vote on the board members who were brought forward. All those in favor on Amanabib Charlie Cruz, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, that is unanimous. Again, a vote for Kathy Flynn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote 3 times for Kathy Flynn.
Yes, by all means. Can't wait to sort through that. Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, that is unanimous. So welcome to those 2 new board members. Thank you, thank you. Your generosity to our historical society is greatly appreciated. Next, we will have the vote on returning board members for their second 3-year term. That would be myself, Amy Green, as president, and Police Chief Ernest Martineau as a board member. And I don't know, I feel weird conducting that. So Dr. John, would you mind conducting that call?
Again, I would ask for all in favor of Amy Green continuing for her second 3-year term and as president to say aye.
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 And any
Aye.
opposed, we won't listen anyway. So I think that's unanimous as well. And secondly, for Police Chief Ernest Martineau to serve his second 3-year term on the board. All those in favor say aye.
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 And any opposed, you'll be arrested if you're opposed, but
Is he opposed?
I don't mean to. And none opposed, I think. So that also is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We do have our other officers that need to be voted on as well. That would be for Vice President, Dr. John Bognazarian, and we will take that as an aye vote as well. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, that will be unanimous. For our treasurer, Mr. Jim Reynolds, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing or hearing none, that is unanimous. And then for our clerk slash secretary, Kay Hillman.
Aye.
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 Hearing or seeing any objections, that would be unanimous as well. So thank you and welcome again. I look forward to serving with our officers and again, working alongside our new members as well as our existing membership board. So thank you for your continuation of support for our historical society. Next on the agenda, we will have the treasurer's report from Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you. Can you just confirm you can hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Excellent. So I just have some technical challenges on my side. Amy, it's not coming up on my screen.
Oh, you wanted
So you
to
can-
share your screen? I think,
I cannot share my screen. I'm sorry. While I was waiting, it just went blank on my side. So I don't know if you've got it there, Susan, or if you can just bear with me for a
yeah,
moment.
I think I have to make you
Susan, I can't share it from
Right.
my, yeah.
I think I have to make you a fellow host. Is that right? Let's
It's
see.
okay. Let me speak to it, and then perhaps we could
Here we
share
go.
it with
Here we go.
the team. All right.
Constrict it with-
First of all, thank you for the nominations and good update with everybody. There's a report which I'm not able Thank you, Susan, for allowing me the technology, but I can't make it work from my side to share.
Can
So
you try one
maybe-
more time? I think I just changed the
Susan,
setting.
third time, I'm not able to
Okay.
share. Thank you.
Okay.
But we can share the information with you after the meeting. I wanted to report back to you on some key pieces of information. The first piece of information I'd like to share with you is that between last year and this year, that we started the year with cash in the bank of $340,000. And we finished the year with $261,000. And that's a combination of various checking accounts and some very specific savings we have for targeted spending, like, for example, the Dickinson Room. That cash is also the things that we use to write our operational activities, our checks, and we're in very good standing there. The other big piece of the organization is our securities that we have with Rollstone Bank. And also happy to report to the team that grew significantly by roughly $430,000, starting the year at just over $815,000. And we're now up over $1 million in our endowment, up to $1.2 million, which is excellent and reflects some great work from our wealth management team over at Rollstone. This board should know and understand that we draw down 4% every year. That value is voted on by the board, and that's our policy, and contributes to the funding of our budget every year. In terms of how we did over the last year we had income of $499,000, driven largely by that increase in the endowment that I mentioned previously. But we should also note that large increase goes back towards the endowment to help it grow. In terms of expenses, we had a very normal type of year of spending just under $140,000. And those types of expenses cover things like operations, personnel, buildings, grounds, and so forth. In terms of the income, the 499, of course, the exclamation point is that endowment income, but also, albeit, you know, a COVID year, you know, dues, donations, grants, and so forth, year-end appeals were all contributing towards that value. And that it would have given us a net income of almost $360,000. Again, a big piece of it going back to the endowment, when as a nonprofit, we had a budget of, you know, to break even, or, you know, just to be about, I think, $2,000, you know, to the good. So all in all, it was a very good year. Not too many things can be said about a COVID year being a very good year.
Well, here's what I would like to add to that. With it being a COVID year, we still managed to, you know, be fiscally responsible. We still managed to have our message received, not only in this community, but across the United States through FATV and their programming. And the effort with archive, genealogy, research still continued to happen, even on a small scale. So I'm proud and pleased of the work that we were able to do when some, if not most, nonprofits in town didn't fare so well. So again, thank you for everybody who helped make that possible, and you know, continue to further our mission.
Amy, I think your comments are certainly very welcome and spot on, because, you know, a treasurer's report or the numbers does not indicate that level of effort and activity and engagement from the community. So well said. What you see up on screen right now is the proposed budget for next year, or this upcoming year. And in that, you know, our revenue or our income expectations are more modest relative to the endowment. And we've got income expectations of $189,000. I'm using round figures. The expenses are in line with a normal year, with some slight upticks in support to make sure that the organization can run well. And that total is $161,000, which would give us an outlook or a new budget for the year of round figures, $28,000 net income. And that, I'll be happy to entertain any questions or comments, and that is the treasurer's report.
Motion to accept the treasurer's report. All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. The treasurer's report will be put on file for us to always use as a great reference and a tool as we move forward in planning our year for 2022. Are there any questions for Mr. Reynolds on the budget or anything that needs to be further explained?
I had a question before we move on. I just wondered if Mr. Reynolds had a comparison on how we were doing with building relating expenses now that we've had a couple years with only one building. I think we're at a 41,000 plus or so this year. How would that compare to the last year we had both buildings?
I'm going to, Christine, great question. I don't have that at my fingertips. Let me see if I can find that while the other presentation here is going on. And if I cannot find it in time, then let me follow up with a note or a communication back out with that answer. I think that the heart of your question would be, are we doing okay? And the expenses, you know, are coming down, but I would also say to you that, you know, one of our larger expenses, of course, is the operation of the Phoenix building, because it is a very large building.
Thank you. Appreciate your work on this.
Any other questions or concerns, comments? Hearing or seeing none. Susan, I believe it's now your turn for the presentation on our year.
All righty. Well, you know, I love doing show and tells, so we're going to see some pretty pictures. As we've been discussing here, it's been an unusual year. And as President Amy said, it's pushed us in some new directions and gotten us to try out some new kinds of projects. And ironically, some of these were popular history programs that we offered in the past and that we had hoped to get back to. And so with the limitations that have been imposed by COVID-19, we actually were able to bring some earlier programs back. Oh, let's see if I can, oh dear. I'm sharing my screen, but it's not going forward. Let's see if I can. The preview, yeah. I'm gonna have to, let me try it smaller. Here's how we do this. Share, and then, no. Okay, darn it. I'm
Hey,
going,
Josh.
you know what it is, it's on this. I have to have it, I think I'll have to have it smaller is all. Okay, let me try again. Let's see if this will work. Okay, it's smaller, but let's see if it'll work now. No. This is incredible. I did this on my own here and it worked fine. Incredible. Okay, let me go to let me show my sidebar. Okay. I don't know why it looks entirely different than, okay, I'm gonna try.
Yet another challenge, but here we are doing
Here we
it.
go, yeah. Let's see if my preview, okay, okay. Okay, let's do all of these. See if it'll work, if I do it freshly here. Okay, and now, there we go. I'll try to do it like this. Let's see if this works. Can you see my screen, everyone?
No.
Okay, let's see, share. How about, there it is. Sorry, yeah, I'm gonna do it this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the last 2 years, we've been doing a lot of work with our collections. Mainly, we've been consolidating them from offsite storage into the Phoenix building. You know how much work that is. And that work is still going on. We still have lots of work to do on that. I think before the pandemic hit, that it may have actually been a high point for us of in-person activity at the Historical Society. We were welcoming huge numbers of researchers here, and we had many different teams of volunteers who came every week to help us with our work. I've told lots of people about the story about that, how right before the pandemic closed us down, we had 15 people all working, either researching or helping out on one afternoon in the Historical Society. But that all stopped pretty abruptly in March of 2020. And of course, at that time, the immediate future was very uncertain. None of us knew exactly what was going to happen in the COVID era, but we decided that there were some new opportunities that were opening up for us. And so what we did is we decided to pivot and create some new programs. Actually, what happened was that in the past, many of you know that Joy Contoy and Ann O'Connor had created some very substantial TV shows on Fitchburg Access that were very popular. They were a great way for us to reach our audience. And people had always come in saying, boy, you should do TV shows again. And with COVID, this was the time for us to pivot to that. So what we did is we actually wrote a grant for some National Endowment for the Humanities CARES grant funding in order to pay for a little bit of my time to bring that back and some of the resources we needed. And so then we created that show on Fitchburg Access TV. And also, once we had those shows, in the past, I had found that YouTube was a great way to reach a larger audience all around the country. You know, sometimes you could get a hit on YouTube. So we decided to start sharing our videos and some of our other films on a YouTube channel, which is still going on, and we're continuing to upload things to that every time we do a new FATV show. So in the past, again, we had offered some outdoor events, performances outside. And so this year what we did is we collaborated with Stratton Players to take those historical reenactments to a whole new level of sophistication. And so we offered Artists and Ancestors in mid-April. You can see a little bit of April snow there. And we're going to be offering another program this October 2nd and 3rd, Saturday and Sunday. Again, they've done research here. It's all about the people of Fitchburg and their history in the Civil War. And I'm actually going to be contacting all of our board members. Many of you volunteered to greet people at that in April, which was hugely successful. And Stratton has asked that we have a few people, again, from the Historical Society to meet the public and help them find their way around the cemetery. And actually, they'd like us to expand what we do and have a couple people lead pre-prepared tours to see some of the grave sites that are relevant for this at the cemetery. So during the lockdown, I think we all became aware that we were living through historic times. And so we worked with First Parish Church and Will Darkangelo and created a time capsule of 2020. So by not doing this just alone, but actually working with First Parish, it really helped us bring up the energy, do a bigger time capsule, reach lots more people. And actually right now we're talking with Will about expanding that time capsule to include this year too, as an ongoing year of COVID. Wow. So we'll be reaching out to people too. We're not ready to announce it yet, but we're conversing about it and planning it right now. And I'm happy to say that our longtime board member and curator, Kathy Flynn, actually threw herself into her pandemic project, which was doing new research and finding photos from our collection to put up a new permanent exhibition at City Hall, which is really pretty stunning. It's a real achievement. And after getting some rest for about 2 or 3 weeks, she came right back and said, okay, I want to work on our new exhibition downstairs in the Historical Society. So she and I are working on that right now. We responded to many other opportunities too to collaborate. We were approached by Fitchburg State, the Art Museum, all the different people that you see here. And really that's how we were able to accomplish so much in helping the community to share so many different points of view about Fitchburg's local history. And talking about teamwork, I actually, while we're here today, I want to give a special cheer for our longtime volunteer, Simone Blake, who was a board president and a board member. And she's been coming in regularly for 7 years, once a week, at least once a week for a full work day. to help us with getting our collection catalog. So she stepped back from that as she's working more on research for Abolitionist Park and some political activities, but she has helped us in recent years more than I could possibly describe. So also we have a very active Facebook group, which now has 3,000 members, connects us with Fitchburg people from around the country and even around the world. People connect with each other. It's wildly, wildly busy. And all the people on it help keep up with it, police it, so that it's really only about Fitchburg history. It's been really terrific. And I want to mention that we've had some local talent this year that has been recognized at the state level. Joy Contoy received posthumous recognition, and George Merjanian also received a Massachusetts Star Award for the many ways in which they make public history available to the public. George answers dozens of history questions and does research for them on our Facebook group every single week. And it's really gratifying to me to see that statewide level awareness of Fitchburg's wonderful history researchers and volunteers. And also because of our many years of Ivor Johnson exhibitions of historic bikes, we were approached by Old Sturbridge Village to loan them a Massachusetts-made Ivor Johnson tricycle, which is now on view and a long-term loan for a few years at Old Sturbridge Village. And this is a picture of it in their exhibition. Well, so now I'll go behind the scenes a little bit more. Because as we talk about here, we're working on long-term strategies and goals too, oriented towards long-term financial growth and organizational strength, because we really see ourselves becoming an important regional resource for Massachusetts history, especially once I know how to work the computer programs even better. So as Jim said, one of the ways that we did this is we've been working consistently on developing our donor base, our funding relationships. And back in March 2020, when nobody was quite certain what was going to be happening, we saw COVID become real in our community, and we immediately pivoted to trying to raise funds to support us during a time of what might be crisis. So we continued our annual campaign and our membership, but we also applied for state and federal funds, and we received substantial amounts from those that you see here. Oh, and I realize I left off a Mass Cultural Council. We also received COVID era funding from them as well. But we also work to develop these new kinds of programs that I've been describing, work with our collection, work online, work on TV. And so we needed programs that we could present virtually. And so we wrote grants to fund them. And these are some more of our funders this year for those programs. Well, and I'll mention too that in addition to this, about 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, our board had a really searching good discussion and committed itself to making sure that it served all of Fitchburg's communities. And so based on that, we've continued to work on expanded programming, expanded audiences, making sure that we are reaching out to historically underserved people who haven't necessarily been to museums before, that they could see their story here at the Historical Society. It also meant that with our leadership, we keep trying to broaden the backgrounds, have young people, a variety of people serving as our leaders. And as a result, we have many initiatives underway right now. And this year we've been chosen to participate in the equity cohort that was just created by the Greater Worcester Community Foundation's nonprofit support center to help us think even more in the long term for that, sharpen our ideas, clarify our ideas, and develop some new ideas to reach the whole Fitchburg community. And so as we develop those exciting new ideas, we'll be sharing them with all of you. And I'd like to finish up by encouraging you to come to the upcoming events and consider volunteering to greet people at the events. The Letters from the Front, which is going to be at Forest Hill Cemetery in early October. Also, I will be giving a talk about the Italian American community in Fitchburg at the Fitchburg Senior Center. I assume in a very, very large space. And so thank you so much for all your time, everybody. And I thought now we'd move on to the questions and answers. Anything for me or for our president, Amy Green. Okay, and let me stop my sharing. There we go.
Thank you, Susan, for that. And it's always nice, when you don't think, geez, what have we done? Or, another year has passed, and then you get the slideshow and you're like, wow, yeah, Historical Society has been busy. So, thank you. I want you to know how much the work that you continue to do every day is appreciated. Not only from me, all of the board members and all of our community residents as well. Because I couldn't do what I do without you and the collaboration of not only everyone who participates on our board, but our members, our residents, our Facebook groups. We have such a gift here in Fitchburg of being able to welcome and honor the support and the partnerships that we have with every other organization. So that continues to be important as we move forward. So I just want to recognize all those who continue to make that helpful and important to us.
Yeah, our volunteers are central to it. Andy Lipesty is here. He also comes in once a week and works a full day. It helps us accomplish a huge amount. And if Jay ends up joining us as an intern, we'll be getting lots of valuable work from him too.
Yes, and I see Asher's here. Hello, Asher. Nice to see you. Thank you for the work that you continue to do. Much appreciated. Now, any other comments, concerns, ideas that you'd like to bring forward? Anything that we should or could do better at, or that you would like to see us involved in? I'm scanning, I'm looking.
Amy, I would like to just respond with some information regarding Christine's question.
Okay.
Yeah. I still would like to follow up with a note, but just as a point of reference, if we went back to 2019, when we were sort of in full running two buildings, our buildings and grounds at that point in time was little over $62,000 annually spent. And for the Phoenix building this past year, we would have spent $42,000 in the same category. So obviously, by working with one building versus two, in the category of spend that relates directly to those buildings, we can see a reduction of operating costs in the magnitude of $20,000 per year.
Thank you, Jim. And I appreciate your looking up the answer to that question. I think it's good from time to time to follow up on the decisions that we made in the past and see how they're playing out in the future. I think when you look at the reduction in expenses together with the lump sum that we did receive from the sale of the building, it's definitely turned out to be a net benefit to the society. So thanks for letting me appreciate it.
I do have an update, again, working with such great community partners. Phil Esposito, who is a well-known contractor for years here in Fitchburg, has agreed to come by and look at the structural nature of our buildings and to help guide us on structural load and what needs to be done through a structural engineer on how best to equip our floors 4, 5, and 6, or 3, 4, and 5, however you want to look at it, on getting back to the commitment to once again to want to come up and maybe create a new master plan on how we as a historical society / research / classroom / museum want to move forward. So that's awesome. And the fact that we have the company Bond, who also worked on the City Hall project, Mary from Bond Brothers, is on Mass Historic Commission, and she would also be willing to come by and look at the building
My name
and
is Stephen Di Natale. I am the mayor of the city of Fitchburg.
lead us and guide us into making those decisions as we move forward on what to do with the building. So those were two big kind of events or news updates that we're continuing to want to bring our building to full flourishing, but again, doing that fiscally with some fiscal responsibility and knowing that that will be a big project for us to undertake. So it's in the works, baby steps, as they say. Any other?
Mind if I made a general comment?
No, by all means.
So I just wanted to say that I know that it's been extremely difficult for you and particularly for Susan to go forward and try to accomplish the mission of the society over the past 2 years. And I am so pleased with the way that you've branched out and been so creative in leveraging partnerships with other people and in exploring new ways to communicate what we do to the public. I really think it's lovely. Just looking at, for instance, the website for the Historical Society, which I think was broken for 6 months to a year at one point in time. And now it's not only functioning, but I think giving a much better interface to people who want to use the Society's resources. I just think it's great. I just also wanted to say generally, I think that sometimes when people think of the work that the Historical Society does and preservation in general, it's this focus on the past. And I think from listening to, for instance, the mayor speak on his project earlier this evening, that was a preservation project that he clearly was very proud of and found very rewarding, and rightfully so, because preservation doesn't have to be just preserving the past. It is really engaging the past with the present and the future. And you see that as an example in that building, because the hope is that it will be leveraged to renovate and re-energize that entire area of downtown. My hope as the society goes forward, while we may not be involved in construction projects for preservation, that we find a way to implement our mission in that manner, where we're using our preservation of the past to try to engage with the future. And I think given the innovations that have been put into place over the past year, there's being a real attempt made to do that. So congratulations, good work, and good luck in the upcoming year.
Thank you. As you know, I will just say, it takes a village, and, here we are, you know what I mean? I'm looking at our tribe, my tribe, all of our tribe, and, couldn't be prouder of the work that we've done and continue to do. And it's not a solo mission. It really is everybody coming together. So I appreciate that moving forward. Any other questions or concerns, comments? All right. Oh, go ahead, Susan.
It's actually sort of, Christine reminds me that we keep hearing from people who are buying homes and businesses in Fitchburg who are new to the city. And I've been realizing, that I try to keep in touch with them. I think that we are a terrific introduction to the city for them. And that's something when we can all be meeting more personally, or however the new version goes, that we'll be able to connect those people with each other and with the city so that they really feel that Fitchburg is their home and that they're excited about they sort of have glimpses of the history around us, but they don't know anything about it yet. So we've definitely got an interesting new audience that is interested. A little like what we're seeing with the kids in middle school, that it's all new for them and this is their hometown. And so I think we can do a lot with these audiences.
Thank you.
Susan, just out of curiosity, when you hear from these new residents and businesses, do we give them a membership application?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 or 4 of them, right? No.
Do use our newsletter. One of the sort of pivots this year was to publish a larger members newsletter, the hard copy newsletter during the COVID period. We had occasionally expanded the number of pages and we kept all of them that big. And we've really been publishing extras of them to use as marketing for us. It's got a membership form in it that often are sent back. And so I also share those with them. And we have extra copies, brand new copies, not outdated ones, at City Hall too, so that people can pick it up and become members as well.
All right. I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.